Welcome to the On Deck podcast presented by LineStar. I'm Shannon Sommerville here with Tyler Wiemann, about to break down some fantasy baseball for you for today's slate. We'll also have some prop bets and home run calls for you. First things first, we got to see what today is. Today is, well, it's Friday, May 27th. It's also National Grape Popsicle Day, National Heat Awareness Day, National Hairstylist Mental Health Awareness Day. Thinking about that one, and I was like, I bet they need mental health care after all of their clients come in and just complain about your life, right? They're
Yep.
And it's also National Road Trip Day. So, also you made a note earlier with the Heat Awareness Day.
Yes.
You might want to consider that if you're placing any basketball bets, right?
Miami Heat, Game 6 against Boston. They're down 3-2.
Is it a coincidence that it's National Heat Awareness Day? I think not.
And they finally decided to be up front with their injury reports and came out with all their starters early today.
All signs pointing
Heat.
to Heat tonight.
Yep.
So National Road Trip Day, though, got me thinking, what ballpark would you want to take a nice little road trip to? And I know for you, obviously, Yankee Stadium is number one on the bucket list for that.
Hard no.
Where are you headed?
I would go to Chicago and go to Wrigley.
Great idea.
It is a bit of a drive here from San Diego, but I have always wanted to go to Wrigley. There's a lot of stuff you can see on the way, too.
That's one of the
go
ones
through
I haven't
Vegas,
been to.
go through Colorado, go through Utah.
You could stop at Field of Dreams in Iowa.
True.
I've
That
been
would
there.
be cool, too.
I went there. It was pretty cool.
That would actually be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty
and then
awesome.
get over.
It's in the middle
get up
of
to Wrigley.
absolutely nowhere, just like the movie. It's awesome. It's pretty cool, though. And then they've,
Well,
I
yeah.
guess, since
If you
added
build it,
Little
they'll
League
come.
field. Exactly. I came to the field, so it worked. I think I would go to San Francisco. You could do a little 2-for-1 day, go out in a kayak, catch some fly balls. Be a nice little drive up the coast.
Yeah.
Beautiful scenery.
Go see Alcatraz, too.
Go see Alcatraz. Who was there? Al Capone was there, right? Who was... All right, I'm going to stop because I don't know the answers to these questions. That
I don't
asking.
remember.
All right.
There were multiple.
There were
multiple big-time people
at
there.
Al-
Well, there was like
You mean not just Nicolas Cage?
and Sean Connery.
Sean Connery?
No, there were big-time
Yeah.
criminals there, but I don't remember all of them that were there.
So, yeah, that's my little road trip for today. That being said, let's get into today's slate of where we're headed for today in daily fantasy baseball. And we'll start with, we got a big slate today. We'll start with our high-owned pitchers. And we're going to start with Padres lefty Sean Manaea going up against the Pirates today. Top-owned guy, 37% on DraftKings, 27% on FanDuel. Last time out, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 home runs, 5 strikeouts against the Giants. That was 6 innings pitched. But the game prior to that, 12 strikeouts for him, season high. So what are you expecting from him today against the Pirates, who are bottom of the barrel in terms of batting average?
They're bottom 10 versus lefties, too. They strike out 22%. The one thing you were talking about, Manea's strikeouts so far this season. So on the year, he's almost at 28% strikeout rate, which is up from like 25% last year. So he's showing a little more strikeout upside this year than last year. The one worrying thing is that he does have a 4.49 FIP over the last 5 starts. Outside of that, I mean, it's a good matchup for him. And at home, they're favorites.
Yeah. So worth going with the ownership on this one, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I mean, he's not that high owned.
And it's against the Pirates, so it's a good matchup for him.
And today, once you get outside of the 4 high owned guys we're going to talk about, pitching's kind of rough.
Yeah, falls off a little bit. So, continuing on with our top tier guys here, Guardians righty Shane Bieber going up against the Tigers today. 36% owned on DraftKings, 34% on FanDuel, 3.55 ERA, 2.47 opponent average. Last outing against the Tigers was actually 5 days ago. He gave up just 6 hits, 2 earned runs, had a season high 10 strikeouts in 7 innings pitched. So another time against the Tigers that he's facing for the second time in like a week. So what are you expecting from the Biebs today?
And the Tigers have overtaken Oakland for the worst spot in the league versus righties.
Yes. No, we've been picking on the A's
quite
a bit this week.
Now the Tigers are up, striking out 24.7% versus righties. The one thing with Bieber, though, is he's always been very dominant and have a lot of strikeout stuff, 33% strikeout rate last year. He's down to a 24% strikeout rate this year. So I'm not exactly sure what has happened there. It is a little bit concerning with that. He also has a 4.1 FIP over the last 5. However, in 110 plate attempts, Detroit is hitting 210%. So
I feel like with a lot of guys, though, like pitchers we've seen, the strikeouts are coming. Especially, and I don't know if that's the spring training thing. I mean, like a guy like Zach Wheeler has been getting up there.
Absolutely. Wheeler's kind of came into his own. Verlander's another one. We're going to talk to him a little bit. Yeah. Or Verlander's strikeout stuff is a little down right now, but he's going to be fine. He has a really good matchup. Detroit strikes out a lot too. I think you're good, and he might be my prop later. All
right. Rangers righty John Gray going up against who's he going up against today?
Oakland.
Okay, so I didn't have it on my sheet. Thanks for bailing me out there. 5.14 ERA, 2.52 opponent average. Last outing, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts in 6 innings pitched versus the Astros. What are you seeing from Gray today?
Oakland is easy to forget, though. So
yeah, I mean. Exactly.
You're good with that one.
Thanks
but Gray is super cheap. He's also going against Oakland, how we've talked about. They're terrible against righties. Gray has a 26% strikeout rate over the last 20 games, but only a 22% this year. Another one where strikeout rate hasn't quite caught up. But he has faced some tough teams. Over his last 5, which he has a 3.48 FIP, over that span: Seattle, Philadelphia, the Yankees, the Angels, and Houston. So you're talking about all very good offenses. The one other thing is he has a 5.5K strikeout line today. And for somebody that is 5,500 on DraftKings, that's pretty high for that kind of salary. So I definitely think the ownership is warranted here on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's going pretty much unowned. And I get it why his salary is a little bit more. So he's a good play. Ownership's there for a reason.
Yeah. Astros, Justin Verlander going up against the Mariners today. 34% owned on DraftKings, 20% on FanDuel. People are going there today. You can see why. Leads the league in ERA, wins, and opponent average. Opponents hitting just 161 against him. He's looking for his 4th scoreless outing, averaging about 6 strikeouts a game, and the Mariners 21st in average in May. Verlander's just been cruising along.
Yes, Seattle is top 10 versus righties, though.
Okay.
They have also been way better at home than away. They're the best offense at home this year.
Wow.
Or at least for WRC plus.
That's so interesting. You said that the other day, and I find that so interesting with.
Yeah, for whatever reason, at home, they've been playing great. Now, Verlander is another guy where his K rate hasn't been quite there. It is 26%, so it's still solid. And Seattle strikes out right about the same versus righties. So there is some upside with the play. And in 60 plate attempts, they're hitting 158 against Verlander. So he's there. Like you said, he hasn't been allowing runs, limiting base runners. If
there's a reliable
the K upside's there.
Yeah. It's definitely Verlander, although I'm sure you're paying a pretty penny for him in your lineup. How about low-owned guys? Maybe we can sneak in some value here. Rays lefty Jeffrey Springs is going up against the Yankees. Now, Springs is an interesting one. In his third start of the season against the Orioles, former App State Mountaineer. He gave up just 1 hit, 7 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings pitched, a 1.32 ERA, 1.63 opponent average. So some really great numbers. And also against righties, they're hitting just 157 against him. So he's got some great numbers. Now, granted, he hasn't been a starter that long. He's been kind of stretching it out a little bit. Although he's been really a nice bright spot for the Rays, who've kind of lost some guys in their rotation.
Yeah, and he's up to 80 pitches now as a starter. So he's getting to a point where he's stretched out enough. 2.4 FIP, 27% K rate on the year. So he's been a very good pitcher. And the Yankees. Your Yankees have been struggling a little lately.
They have. Giancarlo out.
In May, versus lefties, they're hitting 218.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
You know, everybody has some slumps. They happen.
Their K rate in May, 22% against lefties. The implied total's only 3.7. So there's a lot of reasons why Springs might not be that good. He's also, or might be a good play. Yeah. He's also cheap.
And I believe this game is in Tampa today. Let me double check. Yes, this is one is at Tropicana Field, which is pitcher friendly. So I like that play there. Yeah. Even though it's against the Yankees, we'll let it go. You know,
maybe I'm back on picking on the Yankees for a little bit. It was fun when I was able to do that.
They'll be back to it before you know it. All right, let's keep it in the AL East. Blue Jays righty Alek Manoah going up against the Angels today. Third best ERA, 1.62, 197 opponent average. Hasn't given up more than 2 earned runs this season, averaging about 5 strikeouts a game. He's just been getting better, I feel like, every start. So what do you see from him today against the Angels, who we know have some big-time hitters?
Yeah, this one's more so like he's been so good throughout the year, and his ownership is so low that I could see kind of pivoting off and taking him. It's a tough matchup, though. It's the Angels. Right. However, they have strike out 26% in versus righties in May.
Okay.
So their strikeout numbers have been elevated a little bit. They have had a solid ISO of 174, but they're bottom 10 in average at 242 versus righties. Manoah has right around a 24% K rate, 3.3 FIP over the last 20 games, and a 2.9 FIP over the last 5. So he's been great. Combined K rate, 22%. May not have quite the K upside as some of the other guys, but if they allow some few runs.
Yeah, it could be a nice play there, especially because you know some of those pitchers are going to be super expensive, and you're going to have to find some kind of value somewhere.
And Alek is expensive too, but ownership's not going there, so you're saving there, and could be a nice little leverage spot. You know,
we love a leverage spot. All right, let's take a look at some stacks. Maybe we can find some leverage here. High owned. Boston Red Sox going up against Orioles, Kyle Bradish. This is the highest owned stack of the day, and I can see why. First of all, Bradish, 5.74 ERA, 286 opponent average, and gave up 2 home runs the last time out versus the Rays. He's given up a home run in every game this season. Meanwhile, what is there to say about Boston leading Major League Baseball in batting average and slugging the past 14 days by quite a lot? I think the next team is the Dodgers, 30 points behind them in average, which is crazy. Their team slugging is 549. Keep in mind the league average is probably somewhere around like 390. So they've just been crushing it lately.
Absolutely. Like, how we were talking about the Yankees a week or two ago, how like they're so hot you can just play them regardless of who they're in, who they're playing. Red Sox in the same spot right now, but they're going against poor Kyle Bradish.
Yeah.
5.0 FIP. He's allowing 2 home runs per 9, like you said, 42% hard contact rate. And Boston versus righties in May they're hitting 276, 205 ISO, and 136 WRC plus. They're absolutely killing righties. And Bradish has reverse splits. He's worse against righties.
That will not bode well for him.
There's also winds blowing out. Mid 70s. It's like 15 to 20 mile an hour going out to left center. Pretty much everything comes down to Boston. Looks like great.
Lining up for the Red Sox today. So you can see why people are going there. Let's take a look at the Nationals going up against Rockies lefty Austin Gomber, who's got a 4.11 ERA, 2.53 opponent average. Although, he's got a little Coors effect on some of his numbers. His away opponent average is 2.03. He's got the 15th highest home runs per 9, though, which bodes well for those Nationals bats.
Yeah, the issue, though, is Washington's been a little cold.
Right.
Their ISO is only 0.61. They 0.061. They haven't been hitting the ball hard versus lefties. 81 WRC plus in May. Gomber, meanwhile, 4.2 FIP. It's not terrible, allowing 1.2 home runs per 9. And then in a small sample size, versus Gomber, Washington is hitting 310 and 34 plate attempts. So they have hit him. However, they did just play him in Colorado, so some of those are going to be Colorado matchup. And then Washington, wind blowing out mid-70s, so it is good hitting weather.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. The Nationals haven't been that hot recently, though.
They haven't been. The games they've been putting up runs, too, it's been like kind of bloop singles and manufacturing runs a little bit. Soto's only hitting like 240 so far this year. Nelson Cruz is just finally starting
he's starting to heat up a little bit.
But, yeah, they just haven't been the explosive kind of offense we expect.
So with that kind of situation, I almost want to kind of, with ownership there, it's almost worth not going there.
Yeah, I'm more in the I'm probably not going to be really on Washington if they continue being one of the higher owned stats.
It's one of those teams that's just fine.
Just fine.
just fine. Not great, just fine. Let's take a look at some low-owned stacks for you today, see where we can find some value today. Yes. Brewers going up against the Cardinals righty Dakota Hudson. Dakota Hudson's ERA, 3.6, 243 opponent average. Against righties, though, righties are hitting him at a 292 clip. Now, he doesn't tend to make it too deep into games. Last time out, 4 earned runs and 4 2/3. That was against the Mets. So, Brew Crew could get to Mr. Hudson today.
They absolutely can. And Brewers have been a top 5 offense versus righties in May. Hudson has a 4.9 FIP, allowing 1 home run per 9, which is a little bit of a lower number, but they're hitting 4.9 FIP. He hasn't been great at stopping runs happening. He's also walking 4.4 batters per 9 over his last 5, with allowing a 47% hard contact rate. So
that's really
pretty
high.
Much Hudson's got hit hard. He's allowing base runners on the bases.
Yeah.
It could be and the Brewers are hot. So it could be
another hot team.
A long, short night.
Long, short night for Dakota Hudson.
Yeah.
How about the Braves going up against Marlins lefty Trevor Rogers? Now, Rogers has a 5.20 ERA, 2.76 opponent average, and he got roughed up by the Braves' last start. Gave up 3 home runs for a total of 5 earned runs, 4 innings pitched. And I was looking at some of the batter versus pitcher matchups, and Acuna, Travis d'Arnaud, Dansby Swanson, Marcell Ozuna have all taken him yard at one point or another. So I'm kind of liking this play just in terms of, the personnel on the Braves and their numbers.
It's interesting you brought up all righties there. 16 of 17 home runs that Rogers has given up in his career have been from righties.
Wow.
So righties. Also, wind is blowing out to left today in Atlanta. 78 degrees at first pitch. So warm weather, good hitting weather. Now, this one's a little weird or a little different. Atlanta is a top 7 offense versus lefties in May, but also leading the league in strikeouts to lefties in May.
They do strike out a lot.
Striking out 29% over that span. So with me saying that Atlanta could be a good low-owned stack, Rogers also could have some upside.
Yeah.
So just throwing that out there. We didn't talk about Rogers as a low-owned play, but there is a world that he could do good. One of those risky
plays where if you're not going with the Braves bats, it might be worth it. Just for the strikeout numbers.
Rogers was great last year, and he just hasn't found his form yet. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he gets back to that soon. But anyways, getting back to Rogers, he's allowing 1.5 home runs per 9. Like I said, righties have hit him hard. A lot of home runs. Braves have a ton of good righties. Swanson's been on fire. He almost was my home run call today, but I went somewhere else.
Also, a couple good righties on the Dodgers going up against the D-backs today. It'll be Madison Bumgarner on the hill for the D-backs. The Dodgers, well, they've been awesome. Yeah. And Bumgarner gave up 2 bombs against the Cubs last week, 4 earned runs. And the game before that was actually against the Dodgers, where he gave up 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched with just 1 strikeout. So, Dodgers always looking like a good play, but...
Yeah, in this one, I'm kind of bringing up more so because they're in another spot where they've been as hot as Boston, where you can pretty much just play them whenever right now. They are expensive.
Yeah.
But they're facing Mad Bum, who's giving up 42% hard contact, as a 5.14 FIP over the last 5, and Arizona's bullpen isn't that good. So with all that kind of lining up, Dodgers look good. They're not going to be unowned by any means, but I think they will be less owned than they should be.
Right.
So, Dodgers, again, I like them.
All right.
I hate to say it.
Let's take a look now at our home run calls for today. Yesterday, Trevor's story came through for me.
I know, we were fighting over Story before the show, too.
So today there were no fights before the show over any of our home run calls.
Yes.
However, where are you headed for today?
I'm going to be a homer.
Okay.
Manny Machado has absolutely been crushing lefties. 405 average with an 857 slugging versus lefties, and 81% of the home runs given up by Quintana have been to righties. So I'm saying Manny Machado takes him yard today.
Do you need your homer hat? Where's the
do.
Dodgers?
Oh, you moved it, so it's not right next to me anymore.
I moved it away. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, let's go.
Going with the home team here. I'm going Dodgers. Sorry to break it to you. Dodgers righty bat of Trey Turner going up against the lefty Madison Bumgarner. He's gone yard against him before, and he's heating up, batting .370 in the past week with a home run in there as well. And all 6 of the home runs Madison Bumgarner have given up this year have been to righty bats. This is at plus 450 if you want to throw some money down. Mm-hmm. That's for you, Tyler. If you want to go there.
I don't bet on the Dodgers.
Okay, now it's time for our prop bets.
Yes,
been doing pretty well lately. I got back on track, so I'm feeling good.
Did. We both hit yesterday.
Yep, it was a good day yesterday. So where are you headed for today to continue this streak?
I am going with Shane Bieber over 6.5 Ks. Bieber has done this in 4 of 6 starts, throwing out the 2 starts that he had to start the season where he only threw like 70 pitches. And he's also hit this in the last 5 matchups against the Tigers. Versus Detroit, he has a 33% K rate in 115 plate attempts. So we're going Bieber over 6.5.
Bieber fever. You know what else it is? It's story time. I'm going Trevor Story over 1.5 bases at plus 125. You heard that right. That's plus money, folks. He's hit that mark in 7 of the last 10 games. He has an 1169 OPS the last 15 days with 8 home runs. And while he does tend to do better against lefties, O's righty Kyle Bradish has reverse splits and is giving up a 357 average to righties. It's story time at Fenway, folks, and wind is blowing out. It's going to be a nice story.
I like it.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. Over 1.5 bases there. Feeling pretty good about our props today.
I do too.
We're going to finish out the week strong, head into Memorial Day weekend with some nice wins. Mm-hmm. Speaking of winds. Okay, I tried to make a joke there. That was terrible. That was just awful. I hate myself. Let's talk about the weather, though. Giants at Reds. Possible late start here. Scattered showers. A few storms around first pitch, though, so should be clearing shortly thereafter. Rockies at Nationals. This is probably one of the most suspect games on the slate today in terms of the weather. So the report is just a couple lines of storms, one around first pitch and then one at the end of the game. So it could be completely fine. Guardians at Tigers. Possible late start due to showers and storms. Pre-game, they should play without issue. Phillies at Mets. Scattered showers. And the report is that they'll probably play, maybe a delay if that. Winds are out to left there, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Lastly, Orioles at Red Sox. Just a few showers. Looks like it won't reach Fenway. And as we mentioned with Trevor's story, winds are blowing out to left center. And it is story time, as if he needed the weather's help in this one.
He definitely does not right now.
Fire. All right, that's going to do it for us this Friday. We will see you again on Tuesday. Have an awesome Memorial Day weekend. See you guys next week.
See ya.